like Jimmy said, this one sucks. But we had a really good run. A lot of people didn't expect us to be here, and we fought our butts off, and we're very proud.
That's Aiko Thomas, the Michigan Wolverines coach. He spoke to the media following their 8-2 loss in Game 3 of the College World Series. Kumar Rocker getting the Vanderbilt Commodores all evened up in Game 2 after Michigan took Game 1. It looked like maybe the Cinderella story would come true for the Michigan Wolverines, but Vanderbilt instead winning 8-2 to take the College World Series for the second time. And, well, Pat DeMarco, who had a home run in the victory, says it hasn't sunk in just yet.
Yeah, I don't think it's really sunk in yet. I don't think it's sunk in yet for any of us, this whole experience. But, I was just trying to stay in the moment and, hopefully it'll sink in a couple of years. But right now, just feels like any other.
Now, who do you go to after you have used up your meal ticket in Rocker? In this case, it was Mason Hickman for Tim Corbin's Commodores.
For start, I get a lot of conflicting thoughts right now, just in terms of how we feel. But I think it starts again on the mound. If we want to talk about the game, it certainly starts on the mound with Mason. He's created such harmony during the course of the year with how he's pitched the weekday and certainly down the stretch here. He's pitched some very difficult games himself and certainly gave us a great start tonight.
That he did. Strong throughout. And like I said, DeMarco with his home run really, I think, started to salt the game away for Vandy. 8-2, of course, was the final. Michigan did stay classy.
Well, first off, I want to congratulate Coach Corbin, Vanderbilt University, their staff, on earning the national championship. They were the best team, and I know what they put into it, and they certainly deserve it.
That's Michigan head coach Eric Backish. I think I misspoke and said Aiko Thomas was the... I'm sorry, no, he's a player, but Eric Backish congratulating the Commodores there, and he talks about the tipping point in yesterday's game here.
The only way you can have an Omaha program is if you first have an Omaha team, and this is very much a tipping point for us.
Could it be a tipping point for College World Series? Because, Oregon State, although not necessarily thought of as a northern team, they are a northern team. Corvallis, Oregon, it's not in the Southwest. It's not in Southern California. It's not in Hawaii. It's certainly not in the Southeast. It's not in Tennessee or even Virginia or Kentucky. No, it's in Corvallis, Oregon. And maybe you don't think of it as the North like you do, I don't know, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan or Maine or Boston or New York City, but it is in the North. I don't necessarily think of it that way. You start to think, well, in Seattle you think of rain, not snow, so what could it be in Corvallis? And all? Still! Hey. They won a national championship last year. Now it's Vanderbilt, but Michigan played for it. And I mentioned before, the Big Ten did do, about 20 years ago, I mentioned early days of ESPN. It was nothing to see a college baseball game, usually from Miami it seems, sometimes, but it was a college baseball game of the week, and it would begin in January, actually, and they'd play it on a Sunday night. And you can, follow college, but this is when ESPN didn't have a whole lot of, great sports contracts, if you will. And there was no ESPN2 and all that. Okay, yes, kids, that's how it was. And, and we walked uphill both ways and all that to school and, still, then the Big Ten said, you know what, this is such an unfair advantage for the Florida schools. How are you going to grow college baseball if you do this? Now, I am one that says, how are you going to grow college baseball if you only allow 12.7 scholarships? But I do think that that was something that the Big Ten did, was say, hey, look, I mean, we'll go down to Florida and play, in February, first games of the year, and then come. But you can't be, having this team play in January, whereas the Michigan Wolverines, let's face it, the earliest they really could play would be March. And so they changed that, and you don't have the January games anymore. And now a Big Ten team plays for the national title. They don't win it. I do think that it poses the question, after Vanderbilt wins the national championship College World Series, first of all, what is a College World Series title? It is a title I think that the entire country does care about. Not nearly as much as, say, who wins the FBS championship or who wins the NCAA men's basketball tournament. Probably right up there with who wins the women's basketball tournament. And I wonder, though, if the weight, the attention given to the College World Series champ is not similar to a team making the NCAA men's basketball tournament. No thought there. That's debatable right there. But you get what I'm saying. I mean, it's not going to be football and all this. How? Why? I'm not sure. Maybe to some people, wait, it's June. Baseball is really just kicking off now. We're almost at the halfway point, but we're not quite there yet in the Major League season. So, but these guys over here are ending their season? Really? College is becoming more of a 3-semester type of place, and I've always wondered about baseball playing longer into the summer, or even being a summer semester sport, if that was ever made possible by the NCAA. What would that do? What if the College World Series actually whetted your appetite for the pennant races in baseball? Still, though, Vanderbilt has a chance to be something special with Kumar Rocker. He's got 2 years left before he's drafted again by the pros. And this is a guy that, you might want to be circling. Does Vanderbilt play? SEC Network, are they on? Rocker's pitching? Don't want to miss that. Could be a no-hitter. Could be a 19 strikeout game. That's what Rocker has done so far, and he figures to continue to do it. I think a lot of other things. Vanderbilt, by winning the College World Series, I really and truly believe that this idea that, we're an academically associated school, so we can't win in sports is just out the window. Northwestern now, and I mean, that used to be synonymous with losing in college football, and they're a pretty good program now, all things considered. Most people are picking them for the preseason top 25 this year. Stanford's the tougher to get into than Harvard, by the way. They're the only school out there that's ever had 3 quarterbacks drafted number 1. I love to tell you that stat, but it's true. And they're one of the 10 winningest programs in football this past decade. Stanford's Duke, obviously, in basketball, has become, they're the team. There are a lot of good academic schools out there. And be it money, be it the fact, as I believe, that the smartest team on the field would seem to have a tremendous advantage. I mean, really a tremendous advantage. And baseball being a cerebral sport, of course, Michigan isn't a slouch university either. Sort of why Michigan, they always kind of, look at Ohio State. Why, they're the state school. Anyone goes there. Ohio State accepts everyone. I will tell you that the Ohio State Engineering Department, I am told, is second to none. And the Art History Department isn't too bad either. But regardless, they do have just a tremendous enrollment in a state that has quite a few people. It's where you go after high school. Around here, it's where ETSU is where you go after high school. That's the That's the college for I made B's at Daniel Boone. I go to ETSU, and all that. So that's the same thing. I went to wherever, Harding High School in Warren, Ohio, and so I go to Ohio State because I got B's. That it's that sort of thing. Okay, Michigan thinks of themselves a little more prestigious, and they play for the national title too. Never let a school try to tell you that being academically inclined, a prestigious academic school, will hurt you in athletics. Vanderbilt proved last night that they don't. Now the big question is, are they actually, Vanderbilt, a better athletic program? Hold on. Is Vanderbilt actually a better athletics program than Tennessee? I asked that several days ago, maybe last week. Basketball, it's all about Tennessee. Both women and men's. In fact, Vandy this past year had the worst women's athletic programs in all the SEC. What? Vandy having the worst athletic programs in the SEC? That's not, hardly surprising. But they actually, in men's, when you look at those all sports trophies and all that, men's sports ranked ahead of Tennessee. Vandy wins the national title in baseball, and even though Tennessee made the NCAAs, that's quite the feather in the Commodore's hat. You've seen it, an old logo. It's got a big, kind of what a sailor would wear, that sort of thing. Then it comes down to football. Vandy's taken 5 out of 7 from the Vols. When did this ever happen? You got to go back to the 20s or so. Vandy just made a big statement that basketball aside, they do have a better athletic program as it stands right now than Tennessee. How did this happen?
Now, home of the Happy Bugs.